The Show.
So how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How about yourself?
Good. Yeah, it's been watching your live videos in the mornings, and you sound really good. You're doing really good.
Man, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I want to talk to you about something that is just it been on the top of my head. So Damn These Birds. That is a fucking awesome, phenomenal song. Especially one of the lyrics, killing pain that doesn't hurt. Phenomenal lyric.
Yes, sir.
So where did you come up with this song?
Are we recording now? Like we're good to go?
Yeah, we're good to go.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure. So I'm a recovering heroin addict. Been off heroin for 12 years. But nobody wakes up one day and says, "Hey, I think I'm going to do heroin today." At least in my experience, that's not how it goes. I got into opiates. I was having seizures. And when I was out of these seizures, I would be in so much pain from my body being tensed up and everything that goes along with a seizure, that the doctors prescribed me Vicodin. And this was back, this would have been like 07, 08, when doctors were still giving out painkillers like M&Ms. I've talked to doctors since then that couldn't believe that a doctor would give me Vicodin for pain after a seizure, but that's what happened. And I was on it for about 10 months, and I was having about a seizure a day, one a day. So I was taking painkillers every day, and when you do something that is, when you do something every day, especially something like an opiate where your body becomes dependent on it, you need it, right? Well, eventually they just cut me off. They said, "Okay, we're not going to give you any more painkillers." Well, by that point, I was hooked. So I started buying them on the street, and it's a slippery slope, man, from pain pills to heroin. Heroin's a much cheaper alternative, and when you're buying it shit on the street, you want as much bang for your buck, so to speak, as possible.
Right.
And it didn't take long to go from painkillers to heroin. But so that's essentially where it came from, was just my past history with opiates. But all those every prescription drug I mentioned in that song, from fentanyl to Demerol, Vicodin, Percocet, I've done them all. Demerol not Demerol, Dilaudid was actually the first drug that I ever injected intravenously.
Oh wow!
And then once you do that, man, you're not far from the big H at all.
Yeah.
So,
you're going strong now.
Yes, sir. My clean date is October 17th, 2011. So
hey, man, congrats.
Appreciate you, man. So it's coming up on 12 years in 2 weeks? Actually, 2 weeks from today.
Yeah.
It'll be 12 years. That morning I woke up and I decided that I was either going to kill myself and die, just overdose and die that day, or I was never going to touch the stuff again. And, I'm still not sure why I decided to hang around, but I did. And here we are 12 years
There's
later.
A reason for everything, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree.
And I did want to introduce you. This is Josh Morningstar, who we're talking to. And sorry, I just wanted to jump into that song because I've been playing that on repeat. But I do want to say thank you for coming on, man.
Man, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it, and I'm glad it worked out. You were kind of cutting out there, man. I'm going to go back inside so I can hear you a little better.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Cool.
So yeah, you're and I've been listening to you for years now. So it's kind of cool talking to you about this too. You're an excellent writer, man. What goes into the process of your writing a song? Like, what types of things inspire you?
Um, Life. So even if it's not a song where it's something I specifically have lived out, there's always going to be elements of myself in there. Um, yeah, my biggest inspirations it would have to be life and just the things I've gone through. I have a little spiel I give in my live show where I say one thing, there's something you should know about me. I'm a crazy person, and I don't mean crazy like ha 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 he's so crazy. I mean we the defendant find, or we the jury find the defendant, that
Mhm.
type of crazy.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that's the truth, man. So most of my songs, I'd say probably 90% of them, if not more, they come from life. And I think it's probably a blessing and a curse. In a way, it's therapeutic. In another way, you have to relive all these horrible events every night. You know what I mean?
Right.
Singing these
Yeah.
songs. So kind of a blessing and a curse. But the guys that I've always admired, whether it be Hank Williams or Townes Van Zandt, Chris Christopherson, or even through to Billy Don Burns, all these people have always put big pieces of themselves into their art, and that's just how I've always done it.
Yeah. And for Hank Williams, you're talking about Senior, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm a huge Hank Williams fan. I actually just got the other day Luke the Drifter album on vinyl. I was really excited about that. I'm sure you heard of that. Have you heard of that, the Luke the Drifter?
Oh yeah, yes,
Yeah.
sir. Be careful of the stone they throw, men with broken hearts,
Yep. Yep.
all that stuff, man. That's some of my Williams stuff, Luke
Yeah,
the
man.
Drifter stuff. I mean, I get into, you know, hey, good looking and all that kind of stuff, but you can
Yeah.
tell, especially with the Luke the Drifter stuff, that it's coming from a real place for him.
No, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's just I can go on and on about Hank. Um so you get
Saying,
you
got him on my
also
skin.
yeah. Oh, there you go. Nice. I was actually
Yeah,
thinking about getting a tattoo. I'm
he's
a
a
huge John Lennon fan, so I have a John Lennon tattoo on me. So,
awesome,
all the
awesome.
artists that
Yeah,
inspired
man,
us.
Hank's big. Hank's big here. We got
Oh,
picture
wow.
there. Got life size cutout over here in the corner.
That is awesome.
Hank's big. Yeah, he's big around here, man.
Yeah. Yeah, we were in Nashville I want to say 2 years ago. We were checking about all the Hank Williams. I seen the Hank or the Johnny Cash museum.
Yeah,
It's really cool to know that, even the Ryman Theater, it was cool to know that, once he had stood there before, so it was an awesome thing to do.
man. There's not a there's not a whole lot of places left in Nashville. They've torn so many of them down, but the
Yeah.
Ryman, obviously, and then there's the Acuff Rose building, which Fred Rose was Hank's this mentor, essentially. Essentially, he's the guy that wrote "Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain."
Oh,
Fred Rose
okay.
wrote "Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain," um, and he was Hank's publisher, but he was also a father figure in Hank's life. And the Acuff Rose building is still, it's on Melrose Avenue, but that's Hank would write there some. Um,
Oh,
and
wow.
then the house on Franklin Road, the house on Franklin Road, um, 4916 Franklin Road. So Hank and Audrey's house that was on that property is gone. It was torn down by George Jones and Tammy Wynette, but the driveway's still there, and it's actually the house Tammy Wynette died in. So that house is still there. The property's
Wow.
still there, even though Hank's house is gone. If you go to Montgomery, Alabama, where he's from, um, he had a house at 10 Stewart Avenue. Him and Audrey, it was the first house they ever bought. That house is still there, but all of his mom's boarding houses are gone. The Empire Theater's still there. Uh, the city auditorium where he played and also where his funeral was held. It's still there.
Wow.
uh Chris's Hot Dogs, which is he would play WSFA, he'd play on the radio in the morning, and then he'd walk down to Chris's Hot Dogs in Montgomery. That's still there, exactly how it was. That place has been there since like 1927 or 28, something
Oh
like that,
shit.
and it's still exactly the same. He loved Chris's Hot Dogs, so you can go there. And then the Jefferson Davis Hotel, which is where WSFA radio station was. It's actually low income housing now, but it's still there. So there's a couple places in and
Wow.
around Nashville and Montgomery you go to that Hank was at, played at, lived at, whatever. But they're getting few and far between, man, as the years
Yeah.
go by.
Yeah. Just like you said, as the years go by, things just start to lose its memory, and things get torn down. It sucks.
Yep, it does, brother. I'm with you. I'm a big proponent for or I love history, country music history
Yeah.
especially. And it's sad to think that all these places are gone, but I guess that's the way of the world.
Yeah. So what's your take on modern pop country?
Well, see, here's the thing, man. Pop country has been around for as long as country music has been around. For
Mhm.
example, when Hank Sr. was alive and making records, he was considered quote unquote hard country, where guys like Eddie Arnold were considered pop country. Pop country has always been a thing, man, whether you're talking about Eddie Arnold or whether you're talking about country politan, the Nashville sound in the 1960s with all the strings and the orchestras on everything. Um, it's all, or going to the 70s, guys like BJ Thomas.
Yeah.
It's always been a thing, man. I don't mind pop country. My problem is that my problem specifically with pop country is the radio. The radio will only play that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
If you listen to rock radio, they'll play Led Zeppelin right next to Nirvana, right next to Five Finger Death Punch or whatever band's cool these
Right.
days. Rock radio has always shown respect to the artists that have come before. Where in country, it's like once you hit 28 or 30, you're gone. No more radio play whatsoever, man. And
Yeah.
that's wrong. And that's the program directors. I would never, pop country isn't my thing. It's not the music I listen to. It's not the music I make. But I would never tell a person, hey, you can't like this music, or hey, you
Uh-huh.
shouldn't make this. Everybody's entitled to make whatever kind of art they want to make. Um, my
For sure.
problems with the power to be that only, there's no reason George Jones can't be played right beside Taylor Swift. You know what I mean? Country
Hmm.
music has a long and rich history, and it's like country music has a problem with itself, quote unquote. Mainstream country music has a problem with where it came from. Nashville as a city has always wanted to be accepted by New York and LA. Always, man. And it's still like that to this
Yeah.
day. Instead of just being happy that it's Nashville. And that it all feeds into everything, man. There's no real like short answer. It all feeds
Right.
into everything. And if the program directors at these stations would play George Jones and then Taylor Swift and then Jinx or somebody, give the
Hmm.
people the show that versatility. I think that radio in general, and specifically country radio, would be in much better shape than it is currently. But they only want to play whatever's new, whatever's hot, and that's wrong, man. That's wrong. There's room for everybody. There's room for everyone. Todd Snyder had a real good analogy. He said that pop country is for the people that were homecoming kings and queens in high school. They grow up, they still need music. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? They still want to
Yeah.
listen to stuff. That stuff is made for those type of people. And I kind of agree with that, man. A
Yeah.
lot of the people that are into Morgan Wallen or Luke Bryan, Jason Aldean, all that kind of shit are the people that were, popular in high school and,
Right,
all that kind of stuff, man. And that's fine. To each their own, more power to everyone. But there's room for all of us. There's room for all of us.
Yeah, I've never actually thought about it like that. When you said that radio is playing, things like Led Zeppelin to Nirvana and still kind of relinquishing the old bands. And yeah, country radio does not do that at all.
No, sir. No, sir. The only way you hear country or older country, traditional country, whatever you want to call it, on the radio is if there's a station devoted specifically towards that. You won't turn on an iHeart radio station and hear, Merle Haggard after Florida Georgia Line. They don't play Merle Haggard. They just play Florida Line,
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's a very good analogy. Do you listen to any, like, I did read an interview that you were in, I forget when it was, but it mentioned that you liked hip hop as well.
Yes, sir. I grew up. So growing up, I stayed with my grandparents a lot, and they were always into, country, Waylon and Willie, and it was so they were real big into Hank Jr. in Alabama, Randy Travis, those kinds of things. So I always had that, but at the same time, I was a rebellious kid, as we all do. You know what I mean? We all rebel, and as I was growing up, hip hop was growing up too.
Yeah.
So I got. My grandmother was a librarian. She was also an English teacher, so books and words were always a big part of my life. And I got real into artists that I perceived their lyrics as being poetry, or artists that were real big on like multisyllable rhymes and internal rhymes, that kind of stuff. My favorite MC is Big Pun.
Okay.
He's especially with the internal rhymes, man, he's incredible. And if you listen to a song like Damn These Birds, even though on the surface it might not sound like hip hop, if you listen to the way I'm putting those words together, there's hip hop influence all throughout.
For sure.
Yeah, man. So I still listen to the hip hop I've always listened to. I'm not big on the new stuff that I can't. They call it mumble rap. I can't understand what they're saying. I'm not into that, man. But things like Big Pun, guys like Tupac, and I have a lot of respect for those guys and consider them all to be influences on my own music.
Yeah. Have you ever heard well, I listened to it. I mean, I listened to, the top guys too, but there's a lot of underground hip hop. I don't know if you ever heard of Atmosphere or
Man, I do the one with the tattooed hands live. I
Oh,
play that
damn.
night. Yeah. Yeah.
No shit.
Yes, sir. Yep. So back in the early 2000s, when I was part of a hip hop group, we did a lot of shows with some Rhyme Sayers artists. We played with Atmosphere a bunch. We played with Idea and Abilities a bunch.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we played with Blueprint a bunch. I was real big into that Rhyme Sayers stuff when I was like 18, 19, 20. Yeah.
Wow. That is crazy.
Small world, man. I was hoping you were going to say Atmosphere. Yeah. I do a version of The Woman with the Tattooed Hands on stage. I'd say probably 80% of the shows I play.
No shit. Yeah, I'm probably going to be going to one to your show. I think it's in November in Illinois. Forgot what it is.
But the law office.
Yes, that's it.
Yorkville. Gotcha. Well, man, I'll make sure I do that night then.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. That's awesome.
There is another a rapper you might like called Astronautilus.
I've never heard of him.
He's from Florida. He's really mainstream, but he is really good. So if you ever get a chance, check him out.
Astronautilus. Let me write that down. Because I'm still into hip hop. It's just got to be good hip hop. I'm not into the hey.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
No, me neither. It's got to have some meaning to it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Cool. I wrote that down. I'll check it out when we get off the phone.
Awesome. Yeah. Can I ask you a favor though, to record a little intro for the this episode?
Yeah, of course, man. What do you want me to say?
So all you have to say is, "This is Josh Morningstar. You are listening to the Chris Court Show, and this episode is brought to you by."
Okay. Right now?
Yeah.
All right. This is Josh Morningstar. You're listening to the Chris Court Show, and this episode is brought to you by.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
So do you still do you drink at all, or do you still drink? Do you drink at all?
Yeah, I drink from time to time. I'm not a big drinker. I'm a pothead. I smoke a lot of weed.
Okay.
Yeah, we all have our vices. You know what I mean? We all
Yeah,
have
I was actually, I mean, back in high school I used to smoke a lot, and then last year I had just fucking crazy anxiety. So I tried
Yeah,
it again, and man, it was a bad trip. It was a bad trip.
that sucks.
My
That's
eye felt like it was coming out of my head. I was like, what the fuck?
good, man. Yeah, that's no good. I come from a long line of alcoholics, so I always told myself I wasn't going to be a drinker. Now I say that I just went and bought the stuff today to make myself white Russian tonight because I've been craving a white Russian. But I'm not. I come from a long line of alcoholics, so I always told myself I wasn't going to be a drinker. So
Yeah,
instead, I got the fucking hard drugs. It's just whatever. Shit
just to
happens, you
kind
know.
of tame it off.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah, man, that's awesome. The reason I was asking, because I actually have a drink here. I was going to see if you wanted to do a little cheersies or.
yeah, sure. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. I got my coffee here. It's got a little Kahlua in it. So
Oh, there you go.
yeah.
Well, hey, cheers, man.
Yeah, same to you, sir.
All
All
right, well,
right,
I'm not going to keep you long. I know you're a busy man. You got a lot of stuff to do. What's
brother. I plan to talk to you for an hour, so we got time.
no shit. Well, then, hey, let's
Yeah,
let's keep going.
yeah, hell yeah.
How did the collaboration with writing the songs with the fans go?
Man, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. It actually, they all went a lot better than I was expected. I was expecting the majority of the classes to be with, people that had thought about writing songs but had never tried it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
that was the case, man. I had a lot of people that consider themselves to be serious songwriters sign up for it, and it was
that's
cool
awesome.
because it helped me fund my new record, which is done, and it also allowed me to work with people that, in a quote unquote normal situation, I may never have, excuse me, I may never have sat down with. So, man, they went great. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I think the people that signed up for them, I think they had a lot of fun too.
Yeah,
There's a lot of cool songs out there now because of them. So it
that's
was a
awesome.
AM. Yeah, man.
I'm sure that'll be exciting too. For them too. I mean, to have
There
your
was a
your
guy.
name stamp on it.
Yeah, man. There was a guy from the Netherlands that flew over here to do one, and we ended up getting two songs finished. And he's already been in the studio working on recording them.
Wow.
So yeah, man, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a very creative idea.
Thanks, man. It was like I said, I needed it to help fund my new record. So it worked for that. And it also gave me a chance to connect with new people. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And how's the new record going? Can you say anything about it or
Yeah, man, it's done. It's all done. Actually, it just got sent off to mastering today. So once it's mastered, it's done. But as far as like, all the recordings done, all of that, I've been talking to a few different labels. I want to put it out with someone that's going to get it in front of new eyeballs.
Yeah.
The thing about me, man, um, a lot of the country music fans or the crowd in country music in general, traditionally has been a very conservative fan base.
Mm,
And I'm very liberal as a person.
yeah.
Uh, and like, I write songs that have a country influence, but I stopped considering myself a country singer, quote unquote, or a country songwriter years ago. I consider myself to be a songwriter now, just whatever kind of song.
Yeah.
Um, so with that being the case and my music not being, country in the way most people think of it, I need to try to connect with an audience that, is a little left of center like I am, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So I'm trying to find a label to put it out that will put some PR behind it and get it in front of some new eyeballs in the hopes of finding
Yeah.
my crowd. Like I'm eternally grateful to Cody Jinks and to anyone that is kind of or to anyone that's recorded my songs or anyone that I'm associated with,
Mm-hmm.
especially level of someone like him. But I'm not a country singer,
Yeah.
and I don't. So a lot of Jinx's crowd are country fans, and they like the songs that I write, and they like the way Cody does them. But when they hear me, it's like, well, that guy's not country, so I need to find my crowd. So that's
Yeah.
what
And
I'm.
it's definitely out there, man. I mean, from the stuff that, like I said, I was going the other day, I was just going through your songs, and a song that you wrote, what was it called? We Were There.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah.
That was just very catchy, and it reminded me of like a modern oldies song. I mean, to me.
No, I appreciate that, man. So that's probably, um, as far as lyrically, that's probably my favorite song of mine that I've written. Um, Now, when we did the production for it, or when we recorded it, the drum beat from that song came from uh, the Nas song, I Know I Can Be What I Want to Be If I
Hmm.
Work Hard. That's where that drum pattern came from. So it
Oh,
has,
no shit.
yeah, so it has kind of a hip hop feel to it. And I think that probably turns some people away from it, but
Hmm.
that song needed. And lyrically, that's probably my favorite song of mine that I've written. I just think it tells a good story and paints a good picture.
Yeah,
Um,
and it
yeah,
definitely did.
thanks, man.
Yeah, like I said, I think there's always that uh you know that label that people try to throw on someone, especially I mean back in the day when they used to have like CDs out, like what genre are you looking for, country. So there's always like a label on music, and
Yeah.
it's one of the things I can't stand, because even if like you have a alternative rock band that decides they want to do more like pop or hip hop or whatever, they'll still
Mhm.
put them in alternative.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and that's been a problem with me as far as labels, record labels go. Um, a lot. The thing I've heard the most often is we don't know where to put you because it's not country, but it's not rock and roll. It's definitely not hip hop, even though there's hip hop influences. It's
Hmm.
definitely that, but it's not folk music either. We don't know where to put you, and if we don't know where to put you, we don't know who to market to, and if we don't know who to market to, we can't sell your record, which is what we do. So I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to pass. And it's
Wow.
like, okay, well, and that, but somewhere there's got to be something or some that understands what it is I do and will understand how to get it in front of new people. So that's what I'm looking for. I haven't found it yet, but that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Why don't you try Rhyme Sayer? See what the
Yeah, no shit. That's great. Oh man.
so I yeah, so running so with Cody Jinks, obviously it must be the whiskey you wrote. How does that feel to hear, you know, a big crowd listening to that with Cody Jinks
Man,
singing it?
that uh that was the first song of mine that Jinx recorded. It was also the first song of mine that anyone recorded. And it's also been the most successful. I was headed back from a West Coast tour with Coulter Wall in December of 2018, and I saw that Jinx was doing an acoustic Christmas concert in Dallas. So I called him up and I said, "Hey man, we're going to be coming through Dallas. Can I come to the show?" And he was like, "Well, if you're coming to the show, you might as well perform." So I performed, and I didn't do that song during my set. It had just come out a couple months before, so I was leaving it for him to do.
Mm-hmm.
So he called me out to sing it with him. And it was at the Majestic Theater in Dallas. There was 3,000 people there. It was sold out. And that was the first time I had ever heard a crowd of people that big sing a song back to me that I had written. And
I'm sure
at
that
that
had to
point,
feel awesome.
man, at that point, I had been on the road for 15 years. No one really gave a shit at all, ever,
Mm-hmm.
until Must Be the Whiskey came out. And then, some people started paying attention, but I had never had anything like that happen. And I am eternally grateful to Chris Couture. He took this picture. This is me and Jinx. This is the moment that I heard him sing it back to me for the first
Oh,
time.
wow.
And if you could see my face in the front, you'd see that I'm crying because it meant so much to me. But that's why Jinx has that big smile on his face. He knows.
Yeah,
He knows
that's
exactly
awesome, man.
the picture. Yep. So I'll never forget that, man. I will never forget that.
That's so were you guys friends before this, or how did it all come about?
So we played a festival together in 2015 or 16 in my hometown in Maryland, where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it was Cody and Whitey and Sonny Sweeney and us and Billy Don Burns was the festival lineup. And excuse me, he and I had talked just kind of like, "My name's Josh, nice to meet you. Hey, what's up? I'm Cody, da da da," online, but we had never met in person. That's the first time we met in person. Um, and that day he stood at the side of the stage, him and Josh Thompson, his bass player, stood at the side of the stage and watched my entire show that day. And when I came off the stage, he was standing there. He said, "Man, that was great. We should write together." I said, "I'd love to." So he gave me his phone number. And then at some point between then, which would have been 2015 or 16, and June of 2018, which is when Must Be the Whiskey came out, sometime in that time span, I obviously had sent in the song, but it took me, it was like 2 years, dude, before I got up the courage to send him the song. Because I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy that's like, "Here, listen to my song. Here, listen to my song." You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not me, man. But I had written this song, and I was like, "Man, that sounds like Cody Jinks." So I had it ready to go, and I had been playing it on my morning Facebook things here and there,
Mm-hmm.
and just making a joke that if anyone knows Jinks, tell him I got a song for him. Well, he sent me a text out of the blue one day that said, "Hey man, I'm getting ready to go into the studio to work on," it was his Lifers record at the time. And
Yeah.
he said, "Do you have any songs that you think would work?" And I said, "Well, actually, I do." So I sent him over the phone recording that I had. No bullshit. 20 minutes later, or about 20, 30 minutes later, he sent me back a recording from his phone of him doing it.
Holy
And
shit.
still have that recording on my phone, man. I still
Wow.
have that recording on my phone. And then um, next thing here we are, however many years later, 7, 8 years later. So that's a very long-winded way to answer your question. No, I did
No,
not
it's perfect.
really know him too well before we played that festival together. After we played that festival, we became good friends. And that's why I say I owe any type of quote unquote success that I've had to playing live. Any relationship that I have, any song I've ever gotten recorded by someone else, anything, any quote unquote success that I have had can be traced back in some way to playing live. And that's why I tell
Yeah.
people when they ask me for advice, I tell them play any and everywhere that'll have you. I've played slaughterhouses, I've played furniture stores, I've played grocery stores, I played a funeral home parking lot one day.
Wow. Wow.
Um, yeah, I've played them all, and anything that's happened in my career can be traced back to playing live. So,
Oh shit. That's an awesome story, man.
I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I never knew how that, hookup got. I just seen Cody where was it? Milwaukee at the Harley Davidson Fest.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it was a good time.
that's awesome. Was it? They
Yeah.
put on a great show, man. They put on a
Yeah.
great show.
They always do. I like it it was a good time at the festival. I like the more personal shows that he's played, or any artist plays.
Yeah,
Um but yeah, it was a good time, man.
awesome.
So,
Awesome.
what's the new name of your album coming out, or do you have a name yet?
So I think it's just going to be called Josh Morningstar, man.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of the recording studio. I'm a troubadour, man. I'm a live guy. I feel I'm much better in a live setting than I am on record. So
Yeah.
I've never really liked my recordings. But this one I did with a guy named Jay Took. He used to worked on it together, and we recorded it in Nashville. And I gotta say, man, I think it's pretty damn good. So with feeling how I feel about it, I think I'm just gonna have it be a self-titled record because I'm proud of it for like
Yeah.
the first time. So
That's good, man. All right.
yeah, I
Well,
dig it. I'm excited to hear it.
hey man, it was a pleasure and an honor to talk to you, bud.
Brother, it's all mine, man. Thank you very much for letting me come on. I appreciate you, dude.
Yeah, no problem. So when we do, we'll probably release this in a couple of weeks or so. Is there any song that we could play on
You can
there,
play
or okay?
any of them you want to, man.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, Josh, I appreciate it again coming on and sharing your stories, and yeah, keep in touch, buddy, because definitely want to do this again when your new album comes out.
I'm losing you, man. God damn it. Can you still hear me? I'm
I can
losing
still
you.
hear you.
This
Yeah.
fucking okay. Well, brother, I appreciate you having me on, man. I had a blast talking to you. Thank you. And please make sure that I'm aware of when it comes out because I'll share it and do all that stuff when it does.
Yeah, will do. Yeah, keep in touch, buddy. When your new album comes out, I want to talk to you again. All right.
I'd be honored, man, anytime.
All right, man. Take care, bud.
Appreciate it.